What's up, guys? This is Nick from Arch City Poker, and in today's video, I'm going to be continuing the Poker 101 series with today's topic covering how to bet in poker. So this topic title may seem very vague, but I think a lot of players that I've seen over my career in my life, whether it's live poker or online poker, they just don't consider the consequences of their bets, and they don't understand why they are betting, whether it's a form of tilt and they're just autopiloting, or they read somewhere that you're just supposed to continuation bet. You should always have a reason behind the action that you take on the poker table. So let's get right into this topic, how to bet in poker. And this is going to be pretty much a post-flop topic or a concept. Essentially, I'll try to use a hand example. Let's say that the pre-flop raiser in a hand c-bets on a flop texture of King 9-4 rainbow, and his opponent folds to the c-bet, and the pre-flop raiser shows pocket eights. What was he trying to accomplish with this bet? Was he thinking that he could get worse hands to call? Does he think he could fold out better hands and that it's a bluff? How you should go about betting from a game theory optimal perspective or a GTO perspective is you should be betting in a more polarized fashion. Now, what this means is that you're going to be betting combos that are at the very top of your range and then combos at the very bottom of your range. The reason for this is that when you bet the combos at the very top of your range, you're always going to get worse hands to usually call. When you bet the combos at the very bottom of your range, you are attempting to get better combos to fold, either on the immediate street that you're on or on future streets. The reason that pocket eights on King 9-4 might not be a good c-bet is that you're often only going to get action from better combos, and you're often going to fold out the worst parts of his range. Just basically worse combinations of hands. So more often than not, if you don't know your opponents and if you think you're in a tough game, then how you should go about betting should probably be in a more polarized sense, because it'll just make the most sense for your range and often for your specific combo. Now, there are going to be exceptions to the rule. There are going to be spots where you are betting more linear or a more merged range, where you are betting combos that fit in at the top, bottom, and the middle of your range. An example would be on that same King 9-4. If I had pocket eights and I knew that my opponent called way too wide, like a big time calling station, a very loose passive player, he's always going to call with worse pocket pairs with a hand like 6-4 suited, 5-4 suited, ace-4, where he has a pair of fours. Maybe he calls with just ace high. Maybe he calls with a lot of his gutters that he should be preparing to possibly raise with. Then you can bet more merged and you get more value out of his range, because if he's calling too wide, the way to exploit him is to deviate from optimal yourself and bet more combos for value. On the flip side of that, let's say you have an opponent that's really tight and really nitty, and he is going to fold pocket pairs that are below that king, like pocket jacks or pocket tens. If he's going to fold combos of 9x when you have pocket eights, then yeah, you can bet more merged and you can get him to fold better hands, and that means you can bluff more against that opponent. But in theory, if you don't know your opponent and you think your opponent's played pretty well, then it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to bet pocket eights, because then you're getting action from pocket jacks, pocket tens, 9x, essentially hands that are better, and you're folding out combos like pocket sevens and ace-4. So how you go about betting is, I guess we started with polarized and merged there, and I gave you guys a couple examples. As far as sizing, which could be a whole nother video topic, but in general, the more polarized that you are betting, so again, that would be the top and bottom of your range, usually the larger you're going to want to size up your bet. And it just makes the most overall sense as far as game theory goes. You maximize the value of both parts of your range that way. If you're betting more merged and you're betting more combinations of hands, then you generally want to size your bets down a little bit. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule. This won't always be the case, but this is a good general rule of thumb. To go along with that, to kind of wrap up this video, in general, if you think that you have a pretty large range advantage over your opponent, if you think the board texture or the flop texture just hits what you should have way more often than your opponent, then you should probably size up your bets a little bit. If your opponent has the range advantage, if you think the flop hits your opponent's range much stronger than yours, then you probably shouldn't be doing betting or a whole lot of betting. Your betting frequency should be lower, and you probably aren't going to be betting as large just simply because your opponent has more nuttish combos in his range than you do. So I hope this video was valuable to you guys. If you have any questions or comments about any of the concepts that I discussed, go ahead and let me know. Until next time, this is Nick from Arch City Poker. Take care.